hated barbecue restaurant in the world. Because life's greatest question must be answered. Which country is the king of the grill? Starting with the 11th most popular global barbecue style based on your votes, we have Filipino lechon. As the video progresses, each barbecue style will get continuously more popular, but I'll be doing my own taste test to be the first. And we're getting it started with a whole suckle. And inside the pig, we have a whole bunch of flavors. Start by seasoning the inside with a bunch of salt, as well as some black pepper. Next, we'll be adding some lemongrass. It's filled with these bright and almost citrusy notes, and we'll just smash it to release the flavor. Throw that in the cavity, smash up some garlic, get it in there as well. We'll add in the chopped leeks, some bay leaves, star anise, and some slices of ginger. Now we're actually just gonna sew the cavity so it's nice and tight. And we'll just finish by hitting it with a bunch of oil. And we'll get it on the grill. Just slow smoking on the rotisserie for a beautiful golden brown. And I'm actually glazing with evaporated milk, which is traditional, for even more caramelization and color.
You're going down!
Just over 4 hours, the Filipino lechon is done. This thing looks absolutely stunning, but the smell is incredible. Oh, she juicy. Right here we got the belly meat, essentially the bacon. In my opinion, the best part. Really long muscle fibers.
You're going down!
Here we have the shoulder area. As you can see, it is just insanely tender. Right off the bone, we even got these little baby ribs. Baby backs, you might say.
Surrender now.
That is fantastic. And starting off with Filipino barbecue, we have lechon. Wow, you can really taste the lemongrass. I was worried that all the stuff we added to the inside wouldn't actually do anything. That is extremely flavorful.
Surrender now.
To be honest, I'm not the biggest fan.
Say what?
I wanted the meat to just not be so fatty.
I think the cook style is super unique and really fun. I think it's just kind of in the middle ground for flavor.
Clearly some very mixed reviews. How do you guys want to rate this one?
I'd probably put it somewhere in the middle.
I mean, it's average.
We're gonna put this in 7th place out of 11, but as we taste more, that could very well change. We are traveling all the way to India. In 10th place is chicken tandoori. But here's the thing about Indian food. I know pretty much nothing about it, so we're gonna call one of the best Indian chefs in the entire world. I mean, he has a Michelin star to his name. Let's give Akshay a call. What's up, man? It looks like you are at work, so I'll make this really quick. I just have one question. What is the key to chicken tandoori?
One is definitely the kind of chicken that you're using, and then chicken
Surrender now!
The marination, sugar, ginger, garlic paste, and then spices. It really kind of depends on the chef. Cumin, coriander, chili powder would kind of help you
Just lay your
red
weapons
color
down
to it.
and
And
walk
of course,
away.
garam masala, score the chicken to make sure that you're getting that marination deep in there. But the last main important thing is the chicken in a tandoor. But of course, if you don't have a tandoor, you really got to make sure that you're cooking it over charcoal to get that smoky flavor to it.
Perfect. That is everything I needed to hear and more. But hey, man, I really appreciate it. All right, see ya. I think we know everything we need to know. We'll start the marination with yogurt, ginger garlic paste, salt, all of those aromatic spices, lemon and olive oil, and we'll give it a mix. Now just covering in the marinade, getting it deep in all the crevices. It already smells so good. Let's let this marinate. It has been 2 long days. Let's see what we got. This just looks like the most flavorful chicken ever. And let's get it on the grill. Keeping the heat quite high for crispiness. Me, Tibby, and some chicken tandoori. Does life get any better than this? And basting with chili butter for additional flavor and moisture. I have to say it looks pretty good, but I do have a dirty little secret. Yes, clearly we have a little bit of burn action going on the bottom, but hopefully it'll still come out good. Served with a range of Indian spices and sauces. I mean, my mouth is watering just chicken tandoori.
That is damn good.
I love that.
It doesn't taste like barbecue, but it is packed with flavor.
It's like a punch of flavor. It's really intense, but in a very good way. It chars up nicely, and paired with naan, it's delicious.
The way that all those spices toast up from the grill, it's just a flavor bomb.
This one was very surprising, significantly higher than we thought. I mean, India isn't really known for their barbecue, but for now, it's going in 4th place. In 9th place, we're making our way all the way to Japan with Japanese yakitori. Yakitori literally translates to grilled bird, and in this case, it's all about chicken. True yakitori is a craft that takes literally thousands and thousands of attempts to get right, but we're gonna try our best. Focusing on the thigh and separating at the joint. Doing my best to leave on the oyster, which is a prized cut of the chicken. Now separating the drum from the bone. There's a white seam here that I'll run my knife through, which exposes the bone, and now I can easily remove that bone from the thigh. Next we have the inner thigh right here. Next we have the prized oyster, leaving the skin on. I will flip and actually remove the skin, mostly do it by hand. We'll cube this up into roughly 1-inch squares. We have our 3 pieces of chicken thigh, green onions in between. Let's skewer. Again, I am most certainly not a master yet. This is the way to do it based on my research authentically. And we're left with our perfect skewer of yakitori, finishing with a touch of sake and salt. And we're grilling on what might just be the smallest yakitori grill of all time, using some high quality Buchokan charcoal that burns extremely hot and consistent. And now just glazing with a nice yakitori sauce. Just like that, it is time for Japanese yakitori. Here we go.
Oh, thanks.
That has a surprising amount of flavor for how simple it is. It's really just grilled chicken, but like the sake and also the green onion just like really elevates it.
Japanese food, specifically like sushi, that style is my favorite food. So I really appreciate the style. I don't think that the flavor is something that's blowing my mind. It's so good.
Very much a curated bite, and it's very yummy, but it's not like I want to go for more. I will say that little grill is freaking adorable, and I'm gonna save it forever.
On that note, we'll be putting Japanese yakitori in 8th place. Coming in 8th place, we have one that hits home for me. It's time for Chinese barbecue, otherwise known as chuar. Chinese barbecue is a popular street food that I ate more times than I can count while living overseas. Vendors have their grills out at various intersections in the city. It really is the perfect convenience snack. And as you can see, we have a really nice balance of fat in between the for the next steps, sort of acting as a binder and also adding flavor, we have some Shaoxing wine, and we'll paint all sides. There's a very distinctive seasoning blend, starting with cumin seeds, some ground fennel, chili powder, garlic powder, and salt. And we'll get them all seasoned up. Besides meat, they offer a wide range of skewered vegetables. It's basically a giant skewered food buffet. Everything is then grilled over hot charcoal until they've developed a nice crust. I always found this comical, but they'd often use a hair dryer to keep the coals hot. And after only a short wait, our Chinese barbecue is done. This one brings me back. I will say, probably 9 out of 10 times we've eaten this, it was like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, just like sitting on the side of the road.
The best. The guy with the hair dryer blowing the coals. Yeah, good times.
The whole meal costs like 20 cents too. It's great.
Damn.
I will say this is probably a lot higher quality meat than we were usually eating. That's legit. That is spot on, extremely high quality chuar. The cumin flavor is super powerful, the chili's great, and I think this is my favorite way to eat lamb. It takes away all of the gaminess from it.
This does not feel like Chinese food. It just tastes like a whole different cuisine.
This is only one style of Chinese barbecue. I'm sure there's many, many more. It's simple and it tastes amazing, but how does it stack up against the rest of this list?
Probably 5th place right behind India.
I kind of think it's better than India.
I think this moves to 4, India moves to 5, and we have made it to number 10. It's time for Turkish shawarma. Also known as doner kebab, Turkish shawarma consists of heavily seasoned, thinly sliced meat. It's often made with lamb or beef, but today I'm going with chicken, and I can already tell this is going to be packed with flavor. Just like that, it's marinated for 24 hours. Time to add to the rotisserie. Well, it's been a minute since we meated this thing, but it's time to whip out the Shawarma Master 5000. This style of vertical rotisserie has to be one of the coolest ways to grill. It's been a couple hours. Ow, it's hot. It's been a few hours. See what we got. And now it's time for the fun part. The juicy, tender meat is sliced right off the rotisserie into manageable slices that are perfect for a sandwich. To a pita, we add garlic sauce, the chicken, and a variety of vegetables. Next, we'll add some French fries. Critical that you go with homemade. We should finish with a little more of that garlic sauce.
Get some.
Very messy, but it's time for Turkish shawarma. An absolute explosion of flavor, but it kind of feels like fast food barbecue. Just something about it doesn't feel as refined. Like, I really enjoy it, but to me it doesn't feel as elevated.
I don't really want the bread there along with the chicken because then I can't taste the chicken flavor. And then the sauce is on top, and then the fries on top. It's like a sandwich. I'm not really big into sandwiches.
You don't like sandwiches?
I like tuna fish sandwiches.
The sauce is amazing. It all works really well together, but I can't put it like really high on the list of just the best barbecues.
I think it would go at the bottom.
My feeling is to make it easy, we'll just put this in 11th place for now and see how the rest of them taste. Woo. Coming in as the 6th most popular global barbecue, we have Jamaican jerk chicken. This dish might appear relatively simple, but it actually requires over 30 ingredients and 3 days to make. The first thing I'll do is start breaking down the chicken, removing both the legs and thighs, and separate the thigh from the drum. We'll split the breast right down the middle, remove the wings. Next up, we'll make our brine, starting with salt, sugar, garlic, ginger, some habaneros for a nice kick, and some allspice. Can someone in the comments please let me know what allspice is? Like, is it a berry? Is it a spice? Like, what are these things? There's like little seeds in there. It really is a complex flavor. It's almost like it has all the spice. We'll add our water and get it all mixed up. And chicken goes into the brine. We'll let this brine for 24 hours, and it should be good to go. It's a little weird to say, but honestly, the smell of this raw chicken is already amazing. And as you can see, it's definitely firmed up a bit in that salt. We'll pat these down so they're nice and dry, but the next step is where the real magic happens. Time to make the most flavorful marinade And time to make the most flavorful marinade known to man. Soy sauce, Worcestershire, ginger, garlic, habaneros. Next we'll add some scallions, and this might be the thickest scallion I've ever seen. Next we have some tamarind paste, which is super flavorful. A whole bunch of thyme. There's a recipe that does take a lot of time.
You guys get it?
You're going down,
Time, but also time to spice.
Dude, that is a great joke. That is a freaking joke. Let's include that in the video. Brown sugar, cinnamon, allspice, cloves, and finally some salt. And blend. What? And blend. The flavor on that is just out of control. And we'll cover the chicken. And we'll let this marinade overnight. Well, it has been a full day. Let's check on the chicken. This just looks insane. This has got to be the most flavor-packed chicken I've ever seen. Let's get it on the grill. No low and slow today. We're going high and fast over applewood to make sure we get a nice char. Okay, now we'll throw together the barbecue sauce to really take us over the top. We have some sauteed onions, garlic, and ginger. Got some ketchup, brown sugar, and then some more of that reserved marinade. We'll let that cook down a bit, and finally, just blend it up. The chicken is just about done. Now I'll hit it with the barbecue sauce to tack up, and just check out that color. An absurd amount of work for a piece of chicken, but was it worth it? What is going on with this one, but that tastes good.
That's unbelievable chicken. It has like a perfect char, but then another coating of incredible sauce. Hands down the best chicken I've ever had.
That is like the most complex, deep flavor on a piece of meat, and it's still juicy.
The flavor doesn't just end with that outer coat. It penetrates so deep into that chicken. That was a 24-hour brine.
The brine,
Then sauce.
You're going
It
down.
is so good. And honestly, I'm a sucker for pancakes.
it is not easy. That is for sure. You need time, you need a lot of ingredients.
Definitely a number one. I can't imagine something tasting better than this. It's so incredible.
I don't know. We just don't know how good the next one's going to be. So I'm worried about putting it out to lunch.
Kyle, we'll give you this. We'll put it at
Take them
2. Let's move on. In 5th place, we are heading on down to South Africa. It's time for a braai. South African braai is the tradition of grilling meat over an open flame and is just as much a social gathering as it is a barbecue. The meats are varied and include lamb, pork, and beef. And we'll throw together our South African marinade. Believe it or not, we're also adding some tea. First time I've ever used tea in a marinade. It's a special South African tea that actually tastes very good. And we'll throw in the rest of our spices, some soy sauce, and of course some salt. And we'll let this marinate for a few hours. Just realized we got a little bit of an interesting cross-contamination situation occurring right now. It's okay, Sophia? Are you gonna be okay?
I don't know, that's a big Michael.
After a few hours of marination, onto a super hot open grill. And that is the color. This spice and marinade combination has things like curry powder and turmeric, a completely different flavor profile than what you see. The smell is just off the charts. Can't forget about the chocolate. Fantastic.
Yeah, what do you make?
I made a chocolate. Looks like our hot knot.
When it comes to eating well, Blue Apron makes it easy. Skip the store, save time, and get delicious meals with quality ingredients delivered. Like easy recipes that are nutritionist approved. And pre-made meals that are ready in minutes. Why choose between quality and convenience when you can have the best of both worlds? Blue Apron. Eat well, live well, easily. Start today at blueapron.com.
South Africa. Ooh, shakalaka.
That's really unique. It's like a crunchy veggie curry. The barbecue, it's pretty good. It's just kind of basic. However, I think the cook style is really cool.
Honestly, this is one of my favorites. It's
I agree.
the flavor on the outside, it's sweet, just a punch of flavor.
Like all it is essentially marinated meat, but that combination is so different, so distinct. All that said, a pretty strong showing for South Africa. How do you guys feel about 6?
How about 6?
I agree. For now, let's put it at 6.
In 4th place, and my absolute favorite meal of all time, it's time for Korean barbecue. Flank and cut short ribs, also known as kalbi, is the most popular Korean barbecue. And it also happens to be. But this is a tough cut, so it's absolutely critical that we make a tenderizing marinade. We'll need soy sauce, water, ginger, garlic, brown sugar, mirin, honey, sesame oil, onion, sesame seeds, and black pepper. And these here are the most important ingredients. Asian pears, kiwi, and apples contain a natural tenderizing enzyme that turns tough cuts into melt-in-your-mouth bones. It can tenderize to the point of making it mushy, so just be careful with how much you use. Wow, it's sweet, it's salty, and we'll cover the short ribs to marinate. Since this is Korean barbecue, we gotta go all out, so we'll add some pork. This right here is the pork shoulder, and it's actually the best part of it. We got the money. And I'll just take some slices. As you can see, that marbling is fantastic. I'm using the same marinade as the pork, and we'll see these guys tomorrow. It's been 24 hours. Just check the meat. The smell is unbelievable. Just by feeling it, I can tell it's a lot. My favorite thing about Korean barbecue is that you get to grill the meat in front of you at the table. It's this incredibly interactive experience. It also blew my mind the first time I saw someone use scissors to slice meat. But when you really think about it, it actually makes a lot of sense. What I also love about this cuisine is that they give unlimited side dishes called
Just
banchan,
lay your
with a
weapons
whole
down
bunch of
and
pickles
walk.
and fermented items. This taste test is going to be a bit more intense than the rest because we actually have Michelin-starred Korean barbecue. This is their version of the exact same dish we just made, the marinated short ribs. The pressure is on. Everyone get a piece of lettuce. Start with our Korean barbecue. Load it up. All this kimchi.
Korean barbecue is Max's favorite food. It's damn good.
That super flavorful, rich meat combined with the kimchi, the freshness from the lettuce. It is the perfect bite.
You get the char, you get the yummy marinade, you get these delicious pickled just situations over there.
Gotta taste the Michelin star Korean barbecue. Who invited this guy?
All right, hot take. Max's Korean barbecue is better than Coates. Even accounting for it, I know theirs is delivered, but it's not hot. This one's flavor is so much more powerful in a really good way. It's just better.
But also keep in mind, we're making small batch.
I can live with it at number 1.
For sure.
Really?
Number 1.
That is the best single bite of food I've ever had.
What?
Nothing compares. In 3rd place, we have the iconic Argentinian asada. And when it comes to Argentinian barbecue, there is only one person. Yo, Al, what's up, man? I do have a question for you. As the Argentinian grill master of the world, what is the key to authentic Argentinian barbecue?
First, you got Argentinian grill, right? Because an Argentinian grill is basically a Santa Maria with a firebox inside, right?
Got it.
Because consider Argentinian grilling is a slow, open fire cooking. We cook with embers, not with flame. That's the main key. Number two, you have to have choripan. You know what a choripan is.
Yes, I like to cook. I think we can do that. Anything else?
Number three, remember, asado is not just a meat. It's very simple. It's all life. With fire, with meat, with friends. And it has to last no less than 4 hours.
4 hours?
No, you must have a glass of wine all the time that you're eating asado.
It's like 11 a.m. on a Wednesday where I really need a glass of wine.
I don't know to do that, eh?
Okay, sounds good, man. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. All right, see ya. Well, you heard the rules. Argentinian asado specializes in many different cuts, but today I'm going to use flank steak, seasoned traditionally with just salt. I got my Argentinian tagwood grill, shoveling embers to the cook zone under the Santa Maria. To go with the flank, I'm also cooking up some chorizo, a critical component to a dish called choripan, which Al said I am required. It's all about enjoying the asado experience around the grill, and given that grilling is my favorite activity in the world, I have a feeling this one's gonna win.
That's what happened.
Big ass spider all blocking. Whoa, we got a squirter. Extremely juicy chorizo, toasted bread, and great color on the flanks. And we'll assemble the choripan, adding the chorizo to the bread and topping with chimichurri. Pair that with some medium rare flank steak.
Next up, our enchilada. This is great.
Love it.
I actually like the simplicity of it. 3 things: chorizo, chimichurri, good toasted bread. Yeah, good vibes. I think as an appetizer, which I believe in Argentina this is somewhat of an appetizer or like street food type thing, I think it's great. Small quantities.
The flank steak is good, placillo, which is another Argentinian cut. If we include that, then I do feel like Argentina's cooking style is like the greatest experience.
I really appreciate that open fire where you can kind of move things around. It's very fun to be out there and grilling.
I'd probably put it somewhere in the middle.
I think this should be top 3. I really do. We're gonna put this in 4th place for now, beating out China and India.
Surrender now!
For our second most popular, it is time for Brazilian barbecue. And to do this one authentically, you already know.
Max, the meat guy. What's up, brother?
What's up, Guga? How you doing?
How you making the grill? No, getting ready for this beer. What's up?
I got a quick question for you. As the king of Brazilian barbecue, what is the key to Brazilian barbecue?
Come on, man. You already know. We don't cook anything else in Brazil. That's what we like. That's what's good. The new young generation are seasoned with crazy things, but traditionally, if you want to do it like Brazilians do, salt seasoning heaven.
Salt, picanha. Let's hope this goes well.
Don't mess it up, Max.
Appreciate it.
All right, brother.
The industrial grade products you need. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Well, Guga made that very clear. We're starting with it. And we'll take some nice thick steaks. And as you can see, the fat cap on this is absolutely massive. Not sure if this is traditional, but I am gonna do a bit of it. Still quite a bit, but this should be a lot more. We have that quintessential C shape, and by starting our slices against the grain, once it's time to carve, we'll also be slicing against it. And we'll season with some really coarse salt. And of course, black pepper. No. I do not want to see anything. Let's get them on the grill. With so much fat rendering off of the picanha, flames are going crazy, which is really helping out with the crust. Beautiful caramelization. Slicing into it, we have medium rare perfection. Picanha is a really beefy cut that always comes out super juicy. Paired this meal with some authentic Brazilian cheese bread, beans and rice with plenty of chimichurri over the top. Brazil. There's nothing like that meat to fat ratio you get with picanha, and it's so tender. The fat is like sweet.
The meat itself doesn't blow me away. At the end of the day, it's just...
I just want to tell you something right now. as we speak, Guga is watching this video. You are gonna see him in the next month.
Brazilian barbecue is probably my number one. I love picanha. I just don't know if I would put it ahead of Argentinian barbecue.
One thing that I don't love about this is once you slice off that end piece of the picanha, there's not much more crust to meat ratio.
Guys, keep in mind right now, a chicken dish is in second place globally.
It was so good.
Better than this? Better than picanha?
Yeah, it was.
Can we agree it's better than Chinese barbecue?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll throw this in fifth and we'll move on. You guys already know what time it is. Coming in as the #1 most popular barbecue in the entire world, we have American style barbecue. But this one's gonna get a little wild because I am going head to head with not just the best barbecue restaurant in America, but what is widely considered the best barbecue restaurant in the entire world at the end of this. Pressure's on for this one, so this brisket needs to be perfect. For the seasonings, we're keeping it extremely simple, going with the classic Texas barbecue of just salt, nice thick layer on all sides, and of course, black pepper. That's the color we're looking for to develop a great part. We got a long cook ahead of us, so let's get it on the grill. With the bark where we want it to be, it's time to wrap with some of that rendered beef fat and butcher's paper, and we'll let it finish cooking until probe tender, and this is the result. Before we slice into this beautiful looking brisket, I want to let you guys know that if you are interested in supporting the channel, Max Jerky is by far the best way to do it. We have all sorts of incredible flavors over at maxjerky.com. Also, comment your favorite barbecue items down below in the comments. I'll choose one lucky person and they'll be receiving 10 free bags of our Texas barbecue. Let's slice her up. Oh yeah, this thing is juicy. I'm not sure if this is the best brisket I've ever cooked, but hopefully it's. For the comparison, we have a brisket that's traveled 1,000 miles from the world's best barbecue restaurant. This is a brisket flown all the way in from Franklin Barbecue in Austin, Texas. Franklin's is believed by many to be the best barbecue restaurant on the planet, but I really have no idea if the vacuum-sealed takeout version of their brisket is any good at all. It smells great, nice smoke flavor to it. Only time will tell if this thing is actually. There's all this congealed fat, but either way we'll get it on a rack, top with some butter, and we'll just reheat in the oven until it's
Get on the ground
I gotta be honest, without even tasting it yet, I know this is going to be incredible. It is so tender and just feels like it's been rendered better than even my fresh brisket that I used today. But at the end of the day, it's how it tastes that we'll start by tasting my brisket. Not the best brisket I've ever had.
Good standard brisket, not really something about it.
Now we're going to be tasting what is widely considered the greatest brisket in the entire world, Franklin's Barbecue. It traveled 1,000 miles to get here. I'm a very shy man right now. The refrigerated, non-fresh brisket that traveled across the country is definitely better than my brisket. Not even close.
Take away the fact that this was takeout brisket that probably took 3 days to get here, and the fact we had to reheat it, and the fact that we're eating it plain, blah, blah, blah. That is a damn good brisket, and it's definitely better than this.
Definitely better.
It still has an incredible crust.
The flavor really penetrated all throughout the meat too. It's salty, it's peppery, it's smoky, it's so good.
Either I don't know how to make brisket, or that is the greatest brisket. How do you rank this?
I kind of feel like it's #2. The jerk chicken was incredible, but this is on another planet.
I don't love super fatty, super rich, super smoky meats, but this is really good.
1, 2, 3,
Two.
2.
Wow.
So there it is, unanimous decision. American style barbecue is going in second place. That means that only Korean barbecue beat it out. And our final list looks like this. Thank you all so much for watching. Believe it or not, this is the last video we'll be filming in this studio, so stay tuned and we'll see you next time.
Scott 1000 lasts 2 times longer. Get more with Scott.
At US Bank, we think the best relationships should feel easy.
Today we're cooking the world's rarest steaks. From the most sought after Wagyu to exotic cuts that are nearly impossible to find. What? Buckle up because these are some of the most ridiculous steaks I've ever seen. Starting off with what is quite possibly the craziest piece of meat, this is a Wagyu A5 flank steak. First and foremost, just look at the size of it. I mean, this is probably at least 2 to 3 times bigger than a regular flank steak. It's usually a pretty lean cut, but the marbling running throughout those thick muscle fibers is hot. And square this up just so it'll fit on the grill better. And that is like no flank steak I've ever had. Have no fear, we are not gonna be wasting this little piece right here. At the end of the video, I'm gonna take a small chunk of every single rare steak, grind it up into what will hopefully be the most epic burger. Step 1, I'm actually gonna cover this in an Asian chili garlic marinade. And we've let it marinate for a couple hours. Let's get it on the grill. Oh yeah, that's the crust we're looking for. All that fat rendering helped crisp it up beautifully, and I'll take some slices. I can tell this thing is super juicy and tender. I just hope enough of the fat rendered out for it not to taste like a straight up stick of butter. It's thick.
It's thick.
Extremely thick.
Bon appetito, bitch.
Bon appetito, bitch.
That is like nothing I've ever had before.
The Wagyu completely coats your mouth. If it was cooked maybe like medium or well done, I might like it more just because the fat content is so high.
The crust, amazing. It's tender, but almost the rubberiness of the texture from all of that fat.
So mixed reviews here, but at least for me, that is amazing. Next up, we're cooking a rose?
No, it's roast meat.
Whoa. This is rose meat, sometimes known as matambre. It is a super unique cut, and it's the first layer of meat essentially on the belly. You can see how it has these really long muscle fibers, almost like a flank steak, but it is extremely thin. And the recipe for this one is absolutely wild. We're gonna start with a quick chimichurri. We'll add in our herbs, our garlic, and some shallots. Season it up, followed by some olive oil, and we'll just give it a mix. Start by hitting it with a little bit of seasoning, and we'll throw on beautiful chimichurri, get it evenly distributed. It already smells fine. Next we'll add some provolone. Next we'll add the peppers. And this is a first for me. We're going to be adding some quartered artichoke, and we'll roll it up nice and tight. Then one final dusting of salt, and onto the grill. We'll keep this one moving to avoid burning, but still focusing on a nice crust. And this is the result. I mean, just check out that cross-section. Colors are beautiful. If it tastes as good as it looks, then we're in for a treat. Flavor's great. How's the texture for you?
You need like 5 minutes to chew this first, and then let it go.
5 minutes later.
It's impossible to chew. I love it. I just want to make it with a different cut that's more tender, and I think that'll be incredible.
I think there's 2 ways we could have improved upon this. 1, slice it way thinner, but 2, there's this membrane that just needs to be removed. That right there is it's gonna be amazing. And next up we have what might just be the most unique steak of the day. This is a Japanese Wagyu A5 short rib that has been dry aged for 4 days. I got this and pretty much everything else we're cooking today from Alpine Butcher. They truly have the best stuff. The marbling on this thing is out of control. It's gotta be well over 50, 60, maybe even 70%. Keeping the seasonings extremely simple with just some salt and black pepper. Do just a touch of avocado oil and we'll sear. Oh yeah, that is the crust we want. Dry aging the extra marbling has led to almost immediate browning, and I'll finish with a gochujang glaze to caramelize. This is short ribs, so I cooked this closer to well done to fully render. I'm just hoping it'll still be tender enough to eat like a normal steak. It looks like meat candy. Whoa.
Oh my.
What?
It exploded like a gusher of Wagyu fat in my mouth.
That is incredible. I love the flavor. I love the textures. I almost wish it was done Korean barbecue style, so we got a bit more of a sear on the outside.
So rich, but the glaze kind of counteracts it, and you really get the dry aged flavor. Clearly, very different opinions here, but I'm going with that any day now. Next up, we have the crazy one. These are sweetbreads. And nope, these are most certainly not made out of bread. Sweetbreads are made out of the thymus gland of a cow. It's from the neck area and almost feels like a strange sack, unlike any other cut I've ever seen. We'll start by hitting it with a bit of lime juice and seasoning very simply with just salt. And onto the grill. They're filled with tons of connective tissue and fat, so the priority is to cook them all the way through and make sure they get a great char. And slicing into it, you can see this network of connective tissue, and it resembles a piece of meat a lot more now that it's cooked. With a slightly minerally and creamy sweet taste, time to see what the team thinks.
It's usually just one person trying on shoes.
Discover doubles your cash back at the end of your first year, so I'm gonna use mine to get something from my beautiful stunt double, Eileen.
You earn, we match.
Wow.
Discover Cashback Match.
We'll take them.
Feel like it's time for something new? With Blue Apron, you'll get wholesome, easy-to-follow recipes delivered to your door. So you can stress less about eating well and enjoy more time well spent. For quality ingredients and quality time, skip the takeout and try Blue Apron today. Blue Apron. Eat well, live well, easily.
It's
Sweet bread.
I feel like I'm eating pate right now. I think that we should put some chimichurri on it. Cut down on like the fattiness, the gaminess.
I love this, but I think it'd be better if it was cut really thin and seared just for that. I don't know, I'm all about that crust to meat ratio.
It's nice and charred, and it's just so rich and creamy. Definitely make sure to get it crispy though. Yes. Like the texture, when it's not crispy, can be a little mushy. Definitely one of the more rare cuts, but it is nothing compared to what we have coming up. So let's move on. This is not your average source. It has 75% Japanese Wagyu genetics mixed with 25% Angus. For what I'm hoping is the perfect blend of Japanese Wagyu richness combined with the beefy flavor from Angus cows. Thor's hammer is a cut that comes from the shank of a cow and is typically lean and super tough. I'm hoping the combination of extremely high quality beef and a full day of slow smoking will be enough to make it taste great. Well, it has been 8 long hours and our Thor's hammer is ready to go. Bark looking great, but I'll be honest, this is not shredding as easily as I would hope. This might actually be an epic fail. Wagyu Thor's hammer. I'm going right off. What's the problem now, Kyle?
I can't do it. Can you, Sophia?
It's a little tough. Maybe if this was in a stew and then adding the flavors of the stock and carrots and onions really would tie it all together.
Okay, smoked flavor, amazing. Beefiness, 10 out of 10. The issue here is I did not cook this one as well as I could have cooked it. This is a cut that has an insane amount of sinew and it really requires a lot of long, slow cooking. Didn't quite happen here. Let's move on. Next up, we have this guy right here, which is exactly what you think it is. An oxtail. And not only that, it's wet. It's filled with incredibly marbled meat. And what you'll notice is that there's these joints kind of running throughout. And the goal here is to cut in between those joints. Okay, we found a joint. It's not going as planned. See? That was easy. That is how it's done. Super tough cut that requires a lot of tenderization. Tenderizing. Super interesting flower shape, and you can see all that marble. Who would have known there's so much meat on the tail? Libby, this is what you're missing out on. For the marinade, we'll combine some salt, black pepper, green onions, thyme, garlic, and some oil. And we'll give it a mix. It's been a couple hours, and our pieces of oxtail are completely packed with flavor. Now we'll give them a nice sear to really deepen the flavor. Don't forget that at the end of the video, this along with every other piece of meat will be ground up into a burger. And based on what I've made so far, I'm honestly very nervous. And we'll cover it with water. Finish with some beans and let it slow cook on low. Just like that, they should be done. The smell coming off these oxtails is just out of control. Almost like a braised short rib vibe, but even deeper flavor and very insane. After that Thor's hammer debacle, we need something special. It's time for oxtail. Oh, you guys already ate, huh?
So good.
Oops, I'm not high. For me at least, this is the best of it.
1000%. This is incredible. I think curry powder mixed with whatever else is in there cuts down the fattiness. It tastes like the most incredible beef stew I've ever had.
I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's this like little gummy knob. It's like gelatinous. It's almost like the cartilage on a chicken wing.
But it's so soft. It is fully broken down, and it's so beefy with all those other flavors. It is phenomenal.
It's one of my favorite things we've probably ever eaten on the channel, to be honest.
For the negative Nancy over here, that's a pretty good score.
Yeah, that's how you know it's good.
This one is going to be hard to beat, but I do believe this next one has a shot. And next up, we have the rarest dry age project I've ever done. Starting off with a whole Wagyu A5 BMS 12 rib roast, which is the highest marbling possible, and I want to add it. And to help with the pouring, we actually have the founder of this hot sauce brand, Brooklyn.
Hello.
We completely covered the rib roast and let it absorb flavor overnight. Threw on some diced jalapeno for color, and we'll see you
23 days.
And just like that, it's ready to go. After nearly a month, the jalapenos are all shriveled up, but what matters most is what's going on inside. Despite some minor oxidation, I'm very pleased that there is no interior mold or anything like that. I think we're in good shape. Took some slices, then Brooklyn removed the pepper. Salt and black pepper. And just check out this crust. It kind of reminds me of the Wagyu A5 short rib from earlier in the video. I'm telling you, dry age truly leads to the best Maillard reaction. Served in a giant cheese wheel because we were feeling extra. And it is finally time to taste the rarest dry age using Cloud 23. Good.
Melt in your mouth.
So rich. You get that like dry age texture. It's Wagyu A5. It's hard to beat. This one is right up my alley. We're making the world's rarest piece of jerky. This is an absurdly high quality piece of meat, so I'm keeping the jerky seasoning simple with just some salt, some black pepper, a bit of brown sugar to balance it all out. Finally, some barbecue rub just for a pop. And into the dehydrator. Due to the fat content, this might take an absurd amount of time to actually turn into jerky, but we'll Speaking of jerky, if you are interested in supporting the channel, head on over to maxjerky.com. Your support is the reason we're able to do fun videos just like this. We have some absolutely incredible flavors. I promise you it is the best jerky in the world, and we appreciate the support. All right, guys, this jerky has been dehydrating for 24 full hours. This is what we got. I've never seen anything like this in my entire life. Normally, jerky takes 4 to 5 hours to cook, but even after 24, this jerky is still very pliable. Like, it should be bone dry after this long of a cook, but honestly, it still appears packed with moisture. Full day of dehydrating, and this thing is still just ridiculously moist. Something you may not know is we eat an ungodly amount of jerky in this house. We get samples here all the time. When we make our jerky, we cook it for like 3 or 4 hours. This was cooked for 24 hours and it was still way softer than that. How's it feel? So rich.
It's like I'm eating a bacon jerky almost. If you get a piece that's mostly meat, it's actually really good. If you get any other piece, it's just all fat. And people always ask us like, oh, why don't you make Wagyu jerky? This is why we don't make Wagyu jerky. It's impossible to cook.
It's like rich, texture's perfect, a little sweet, a little salty. I do agree though, you need to get a piece that's like the majority meat.
Extremely inconvenient and expensive to make, but I'd say worth it. And next up, it is time for Argentina's most prized cut, the vacío. This cut is super unique and pretty much impossible to find in America. So shout out to my guys at Corte Argentino for cooking it. The first thing you'll notice is tons of fat and silver skin over the top and also on the bottom. And it is super cool to see one of these whole because it includes part of the inside skirt, the flank steak, as well as the thigh. Because of all the fat, the first thing I need to do is an absolutely insane amount of trimming.
Fight!
I can already hear my good friend Alfredoni yelling at me.
Ready? No.
That is a big no-no when it comes to open fire cooking. This season, we're keeping it very traditional with just salt. It is a huge cut, so we're gonna go pretty heavy. And we'll get it on the grill. I'm using my tag wood grill for an authentic Argentinian experience. The key is managing heat and slowly bringing up the temp with a vacío without anything. Okay, it's been about 2.5 hours. We've done 0 flipping whatsoever, and I can start to feel the heat coming over the top of it, which should mean it's time to flip. Because there was no trimming involved, the meat is almost grazing in its own sealed juices in the vat as it slowly picks up incredible smoky flavor from the live fat. There's no shortcut to achieving that deep golden brown color. It's all about patience. It's been just about 4.5 hours. Our vacío is done. Just take a look at this beautiful piece of meat. Through that slow cooking process, all the fat has just caramelized, beautiful golden brown. We'll go for a slice and, okay. Yeah, I think juicy would be an understatement. This is just only a level of juiciness you can get by slow cooking, and also by cooking cuts that have a good amount of connective tissue. For example, a tenderloin will never ever be this juicy, and as a result, quite honestly, never tastes as good as this. I mean, I'm just gonna say it, I enjoy that more than a perfectly cooked brisket.
I echo that 1,000,000%. This gives you all the beefiness, all the smokiness, all the yumminess of a brisket, but better, like steak texture.
But it is cooked over fire, which is very different than smoking. Like, to me, it's a more refined, grilled flavor.
And this like crispy pop situation is the best thing ever.
It gives you the good, extreme tenderness and juiciness of a brisket without that overpowering smoky flavor. It's almost like a better brisket.
It may be a little difficult to find, but if you can, it is absolutely worth it. And next up, we have an extremely unique beef tongue.
Max, where'd you get that?
Oh yeah, I've been told there's a high concentration of wild cows in the area. I see.
What? Are you stupid? You have nowhere to run. Right off!
Away from my friend! Cookie Run Kingdom.
Kind of reminds me of like shark skin. I am gonna take a little slice from here just to see what we're working with. I mean, it was hard to tell from the outside, but that is just different. That looks like beyond that. And the very first thing we need to do is remove all that scaly exterior. We'll do that by simmering. And we'll add some flavorings like onion, some cloves, some peppercorns, bay leaf, and a bunch of salt. It's been about 5 hours, and our tongue is done. To be honest, guys, the tongue is looking like a little bit of a high heel. And the next step is to peel away that outer layer.
Max, wrong tongue.
Just carefully separating the leather-like exterior, which actually comes off pretty easily when it's already boiled. Looks like the skin is black and white spots. The tip of the toe. And we're left with a perfectly clean tongue. After simmering for so long, all the connective tissue is broken down, and the tongue is slicing like butter and is clearly packed. But it is lacking in color, so we'll finish by searing over pretty high heat for some caramelization and texture. I mean, this stuff smells like beef. Humans have been preserving meat in Today we're tasting the world's rare. Today we're making the internet's most viral. Today we take on Gordon Ramsay. Today we're tasting every U.S. president's favorite food, starting with the one and only George Washington. His favorite food was hoe cakes with honey, which is essentially a rustic cornmeal pancake. Today we'll be stacking the Democrats and Republicans against each other to ultimately find out which political party reigns supreme. Not bad. Welcome, Sophia and Kyle. Now, George Washington was a federalist, which is more closely aligned with the Democratic Party. So for our first Democratic food, this is not for you. Usually it's hideous. Honestly, a little dry. I definitely get the cornmeal in there.
It's not really sweet, and I like that.
It kind of reminds me of like a cake. I would go for more.
And the results. I think you guys are crazy, but that puts the Democratic approval rating starting at a 6.3. The second U.S. president was John Adams, and his favorite food is hard cider. John Adams was the first U.S. president to live in the White House, but I gotta be honest, you're kind of a degenerate if your favorite food is a drink that is alcoholic. Straws in. It's super sweet, but kind of has like a fermented aftertaste.
Kind of reminds me of that.
Yes.
I love hard cider, but as a favorite food, I just don't see it.
Not for us. Our third U.S. president was Thomas Jefferson, and his favorite food was mac and cheese. And apparently he seduced his wife playing the violin. He was a statesman, planter, diplomat, lawyer, architect, philosopher, founding father, nation's first secretary, primary author of the Declaration of Independence, vice president, and president of the United States. AKA, this guy was quite the underachiever. And to plate, it's of course going into cheese. No matter how hard I try, I just can't seem to escape this. And for our first Republican taste test, it is time for mac and cheese. Will bring me back to that time I cooked for that 5-year-old. I love the cracker.
The presentation is on point too with this wheel.
It makes it better. Putting our Republican approval rating at a 46, just barely beating out the Democrats. But let's move on. The fourth U.S. president is James Madison, and his favorite food is ice cream. And somehow, with a food choice like this, he was still the smallest U.S. president, weighing in at a whopping 100 pounds and a stature of 5'4". I love ice cream, but if it's going to be a favorite food, I feel like it has to be.
Well, obviously you're going to say if your favorite food is steak, but I have a sweet tooth and I like it.
I'm with you.
And some very strong scores for the Republicans. Let's move on. James Monroe was the 5th U.S. president, and his favorite food was fried chicken. James Monroe governed in a time where the U.S. population was a total of only 10 million, roughly the size of New York City, which is kind of crazy. We're gloving up.
Going for a good old breast.
The reasons behind hate, stupid.
I mean, it's crunchy, it's juicy, we're all
Yeah.
Biggest fan.
What?
I love chicken, but I prefer chicken.
I know James Monroe is rolling in his grave right now. You guys might not know this, but this was actually the same year that they won the Big Soft Book. It's kind of crazy to think that this was leading the same time period as the Civil War.
And Max, there's a sink at the door for you.
You're going down, Cruiser!
This is so dumb.
You know, this country could use a delicious steak sauce.
Yeah, mid-Civil War. John Quincy Adams was the 6th U.S. president, and his favorite food was bread. Seeing as cameras were invented in the early 1800s, John Quincy Adams was the very first president to photograph. This is the only right way to cut a water. Shout out Golden Balance, who taught me this.
I eat fruit with like every meal, so I love this. I think it's a good call.
I think he's an undercover vegan.
I don't hate his choice, I don't love it.
Kyle, we are no longer friends.
These guys are like an old married couple over here.
Our 7th president is Andrew Jackson, and his favorite food was green beans and bacon. Andrew Jackson's face is on the $20 bill, and he apparently had a giant 1,400-pound block of cheese in the White House. I don't know, this guy kind of sounds like an idiot. Who would ever buy that much cheese? He left it in the entrance hall of the White House to age for 2 years, and in 1837, he invited the public to come and eat it.
I'm not the biggest fan.
That's my sister right there. There is one element of this dish that I absolutely love, and one that I absolutely hate.
You hate bacon. It kind of reminds me, you know, in China, we would eat that green bean and minced meat.
Once again, an extremely artificially high number for the Democrats based on Kyle.
What? I feel like you guys are teaming up or something. That tastes amazing. I love
green beans. The 8th president was Martin Van Buren, and his favorite food was oysters Rockefeller. Oysters Rockefeller is a classic. You start with fresh live oysters. You got a twin oyster shaped like a heart. I mean, look at that thing. After shucking the top with a creamy mixture, there's spinach in there and feta. It is an amazing combination, and it's finished off with some breadcrumbs. Fun fact about Martin Van Buren, he was the only president to have English as his second language, as he was Dutch. In fact, I'm half Dutch as well.
I like their broccoli cheddar soup.
It's creamy, it's cheesy.
I like it, but I feel like all I can really taste is the top part, and I don't really taste the base.
Very strong showing for the Democrats. Number 9 is William Henry Harrison. Believe it or not, his favorite food was squirrel stew. Now I couldn't find a squirrel, so instead we're using a rabbit. Tibby, why does it kind of look like you? Now I really don't eat rabbit too often, but every time I've had it, it's fantastic. Kind of wild fact about Harrison, but he delivered the longest inaugural address on record through incredibly cold weather. As a result, he developed a terrible cold, which led to his death. That is a tough way to go. Yeah, you remember our pet named Bun Bun?
I miss Bun Bun.
Well, he's evolved into his final form. Well, it's supposed to be squirrel, but the flavor of the stew is on point. The texture of the rabbit is kind of braised, kind of reminds me of chicken.
It is a good soup.
I think this game meat tastes perfect, to be honest. If that was actually squirrel meat, it probably would have been way worse.
And the 10th president was John Tyler. His favorite food was Indian pudding. I'm actually really excited about this one. It's like a spiced pudding with cinnamon, nutmeg. Fun fact about John Tyler, in a time period where the average family was about 5 people, he himself had 15 children and 2 wives. He was a very busy man. It reminds me of like the inside of a pumpkin pie. I wish there was more crunch to it. Like the crust is just so important.
I love the cinnamon, nutmeg hints that we get in there.
A little molasses too.
That doesn't do it justice. This is awesome. I should try to make it.
The 11th president was James Polk, and his favorite food was cornbread. He was a super sickly child and actually didn't begin his education until he was 18 years old. I guess that means pretty much anyone can be president. Kyle, you down?
Yeah, Kyle Tibby 2024.
Scott 1000 lasts 2 times longer. Get more with Scott.
New churches, real rewards. Sign up and get free chicken. For real.
I could eat it all day long.
It's average. It's nothing special for me.
For me, it has one use case. You're eating a bunch of ribs, and you break up all the richness, so you have a bite of cornbread. Well, the Republicans seem to be taking an early lead. The 12th president was a man named Zachary Taylor, who unfortunately passed away after only 1 year of his presidency, but his favorite food was Southern style ribs. He served during a time period where the price of beef was literally only 7 cents a pound. Just dreaming of all the rib options. The rice includes flour, sugar, and all sorts of aromatic flavors like cinnamon. I'm actually looking forward to this one.
Honestly, it's kind of like a worse fried dough. It's a bit dense.
The first taste I got was powdered sugar and cinnamon, but the inside just wasn't really doing it for me.
Yeah, I just feel like it doesn't need to be deep fried. I tasted it before and it was fantastic on its own. Average across the board. Millard Fillmore was number 13 and he kept it classic with his beef stew. Super tender chuck roast with potatoes is my favorite way to do it. And this guy, Millard Fillmore, was Zachary Taylor's vice president, who only became president when Zachary Taylor passed in office.
It reminds me of the holiday time. You got those potatoes, the carrots, the beef, just all those flavors. I love it.
For me, it's kind of basic, and I way prefer like a hunk of meat that I can slice and eat, like a steak.
I also like having, if I'm gonna have steak, like a nice piece of meat.
Another good showing for the Republicans to maintain their lead. The 14th president was named Franklin Pierce, and his favorite food was fried chicken. He was known for having 7 small dogs and 2 birds, which were a gift from Japan. That White House must have been delicious. And our Democrat and Republican approval ratings are still extremely close. Time for fried chicken. Those right there bring me back.
I'm with you. That just reminds me of summer and just good childhood memories.
I'm really not the biggest fan of fried clams. I love raw oysters and things like that.
Sophia, I'm with you. Our 15th president was James Buchanan, and his favorite food was sauerkraut. This man tried to mediate the North and the South, but ultimately failed in preventing the Civil War. I imagine that failure had something to do with his poor decision-making skills, as reflected by his choice.
I'm not looking forward to this one.
I really hope we can all reach some political food common ground on this. Sauerkraut deserves to be in one place and one place only, and that is in Reuben.
I don't disagree.
There's so many other things I'd rather eat than that.
That is a tough showing for the Democrats, and did very well across this whole election. Number 16 was perhaps the most historically significant president of all time, and I'm proud to say that his favorite food was bacon. I mean, it doesn't get more American. Lincoln is credited with the abolishment of slavery, and he was an absolute beast at 6'4". Turns out he was also an amazing wrestler, using only one out of his over 300 matches. Must have been from all that protein. Sadly, his life was taken in a theater while he was celebrating the end of the Civil War, but he's gone down in history as a straight-up boss. Let me know in the comments if this is also your preferred bacon type, got a little bend to it, but still, it's crispy. You're the kind of man who's willing to publicly admit that bacon is your favorite food. That is a sign of confidence, of strength.
It's disgusting.
Enemy spotted.
What is bacon?
Like, you don't have like 1 or 2 pieces and I get tired of it.
I don't know what to give Max for his birthday this year.
The 17th president was Andrew Johnson, and his favorite food was coffee. Johnson actually never attended school at all. In fact, he taught himself on. He became the mayor of Greenville, Tennessee at the ripe age of 22, and he also bought the state of Alaska. I didn't even realize he could do that. I think he might have overdone it. No!
You're killing us.
It bounced right off. Can we get an instant replay of that? I mean, it's popcorn.
It's cool seeing it homemade, but
I like popcorn in one setting, and that's at the movie theater.
2s across the board. And our 18th president is Ulysses S. Grant, with his favorite food being rice. He was president during what may just be the most revolutionary invention of all time.
No way, the shake weight's that old.
No, the teller. I like it, it's a little sweet.
I actually think that's one of my favorite desserts I've ever eaten.
I could definitely eat that again. I'm a huge fan.
Strong showing for the Republicans, who maintain their lead. Number 19 is Rutherford B. Hayes, and just like George Washington, his favorite food was cornmeal pancakes. And we already know Sophia and Kyle, we're huge fans of that one. What it means is that it's a 6.3 for the Republicans. Number 20 was James Garfield, and somehow his favorite food was also squirrel stew. But what it means is it's another 5.3 for the Republicans. The 21st president was Chester Arthur, and his favorite food was mutton chops. Chester Arthur was known for being extremely fashionable and even changed clothes for each occasion throughout the day. For that reason, he earned the nickname Elegant Arthur, and it's reported that he had over 80 pairs of pants. He was loving up for this now.
It's like a job if you're in the scene.
Loving up?
Gloving up. That is incredible.
It is literally the ribeye of lamb.
I like mine, it's just slightly different, but I actually love that song.
Psych. Got him. That's a crazy score. Got it. Okay.
Says who?
Our 22nd president of the United States was Grover Cleveland, and his favorite food was pickled herring. Honestly, a pretty healthy favorite food, though he was named as the least healthy president in history due to his love of drinking and smoking cigars.
I freaking love this stuff.
We ate this a lot. It's salty, it has it's almost like a pickle flavor.
Pickled herring is really, really sweet, and I don't like pickled stuff. I like salty. This is one from the Vikings.
That is one.
Yeah, I thought. You're trying to tell me that you like that better than ice cream?
I mean, I could literally make that stuff all day.
The 23rd president was Benjamin Harrison. His favorite food was corn with butter and salt. Harrison had a pet goat named Old Whiskers who lived in the White House. He was also the very first president to have electricity in the White House. And he was so nervous about this new invention that he had a servant turn on the lights. All right, kids, bedtime.
It's kind of average.
It's corn.
Oh my god, it's corn.
A relatively low score here for the Republicans. That should tighten up the race. President number 24 is, once again, Grover Cleveland with his pickled herring. He was the only president to serve non-consecutively until quite possibly this year, and what that means is another 4 for the Democrats. The 25th president was William McKinley, and his favorite food were eggs. What was eggs? Grammar. For reference, a carton of eggs back in his day cost a mere 20 cents. And before becoming president, he was a teacher making $25 a month. Maybe that's why all he could afford were eggs. I was going no yolk, watching that cholesterol, I see.
My cholesterol's super high.
How's that going for you, by the way?
I don't know how to answer that. I guess it's going all right.
My cholesterol is fantastic.
Really?
Yep.
Like what number roughly?
Oh, I don't know.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
It's an egg.
But it's so versatile. You can do sunny side up, rambled with cinnamon sugar. That's a really good one.
Really?
The team is shifting in this direction.
The team is shifting. Once again, you're ranking the egg as high as the ice cream.
Hey, what if I want to put, eggs on my ice cream?
Number 26 is Teddy Roosevelt, and his favorite food was steak and gravy. He was the first sitting president to physically leave the country, and to this day, he's still the youngest president in history. He was also firm in his mission to make sure American beef products were safely consumed, signing the Meat Inspection Act into law in 1986. Without him, I may have never been here. But I will say, gravy does not belong on a steak.
Gravy, I think. Steak.
Harriet, be amazing on this.
Some pretty big numbers across the board. Number 27 was William Taft, whose favorite food was steak and potatoes. For the steak, we have an ancient relic from deep in my meat freezer. Some of you guys might remember this. It was from 2021, the Sour Patch Kid. Will this thing still be edible? Honestly, the crazy thing is, it still smells exactly like sour patch kids. I am going to remove that colorful area. If I recall, the steak tasted exactly like Sour Patch Kids all throughout. Season with salt, and we'll just mix. And as expected, we have a ton of extra caramelization due to that sugar. But I have to say, for a 3-year-old Sour Patch steak, this is looking pretty good.
I remember that flavor.
Do you like it? Pretty good, yeah. It was dry aged in.
No way.
That sweetness.
Kind of, now that you mention it.
Actually, despite being frozen for 3 years, it tastes the exact
I definitely eat that one again. It takes some more.
The 28th president was Woodrow Wilson, and his favorite food was chicken salad. He served during the notorious and extremely horrific years of World War I. But on a slightly lighter note, this was also the time period where the fortune cookie was invented. What the? Oh, you hate salad. You're actually a guy. That is not true. I love salad. It's made out of chicken.
I think it's because I only use chicken breast.
And a massive score for the Democrats. This lifts them from a 40 to a 43% approval rating. This race just got a lot. Number 29 was Warren Harding. His favorite food was chicken pot pie. Clearly, I have a lot of work to do. This I don't know what happened here.
Is this safe to eat?
That chicken pot pie is terrible.
What? I love it. My favorite part is the crust part, and then it's a little doughy, but also the edges are still crispy.
That's not a good chicken pot pie.
I don't think we should judge it based on this particular chicken pot pie. I am ready to get this chicken pot pie away from me.
I'll take it.
The 30th president was Calvin Coolidge, and his favorite food was apple pie. He was the only president born on 4th of July, and this was a time period when gas only cost 13 to 25 cents a gallon. Hey, Sophia, isn't this supposed to be apple pie, not cherry?
Oh, sorry about that.
Thoughts, Martin?
Oh, shut up, Dixie. These weak store brand plates are risky business.
Next time, get Dixie Ultra Plates. 3 times stronger than the leading store brand. Dixie, make it right.
That is a winner.
I absolutely love cherry pie. My least favorite pie is probably apple.
I definitely gravitate towards like chocolate, that sort of dessert.
Before moving on, I am, of course, going to have to disown my sister. That was not very nice, Sophia. That was not very nice. The 31st president was Herbert Hoover, and his favorite food was sweet potato casserole with mushrooms. Herbert and his wife spoke Chinese, and it's reported that they spoke Chinese together in the White House when they wanted to have a private conversation. 如果你会说中文，写好评论. By far my favorite Thanksgiving side, specifically the one from Boston Market.
Yes.
Right? Remember that? John was so good.
I actually think it's pretty good.
I'm not a hater.
Surprisingly number 32 is the one and only Franklin D. Roosevelt, his favorite food, and his favorite food, classic, grilled cheese. This is a guy who pulled America through the Great Depression as well as World War II. He was also the very first sitting president to ride on an airplane. Like, if I was 12 years old, this would probably be up there for me, but...
With a cup of tomato soup, maybe?
Yeah, I really
very average. Barry Truman was the 33rd president, and am I hearing that correctly? Favorite food, like the welcome. Okay, viewer discretion is advised as we cook this well-done steak, but to give us the best chance, I'm using this dry meat. I'll start by slicing right down the middle. Truman was the only president to make use of an atomic bomb in warfare, but I'd say by far his most notorious characteristic is his choice. Now, I have a feeling this well-done steak is not going to be good, but what I can stand behind is magic. Check out all of our unique flavors. It is truly the best food. Specifically, you need to try our maple bacon. We recently made some tweaks to the recipe, and it is truly our best balance yet. I mean, just check out that tongue that's check out maxturkey.com or click the YouTube shopping link below. Use code PRESIDENT30 for a massive 30% discount. We appreciate the support. I apologize. I thought that the brisket would make it better, because typically brisket cooked to well done is like edible. It's just not good. Steak should not be cooked to well done under any circumstances.
Oh, look at these balls. The crust has a pretty good flavor on it.
That was good. Dwight Eisenhower was the 34th president, and his favorite food was fudge and nuts and pumpkin. Eisenhower was one of the most influential generals during World War II, and as president, believe it or not, it was a time period where a McDonald's burger only cost 15 cents. That's like 1% of today's cost. After that well-done steak...